So yeah, we lost. We got 2 car accidents within 24 hours. Mine got like a fender bender. He's okay. Yeah, I have to write my. Northwest 2nd and 95th. Some guy just tried to meet my wife at the light, take a left. And the add matters, he got out of the car and unregistered, unlicensed. Right. Wow. So that happened, and we just bought it on the weekend. But everything's okay. Everything's okay. It's just not what we had. The car was like, it's supposed to be paid for. But the important part is yeah, not the call you ever want to get. So, that we had plumbing issues. We were redoing our bathroom because of that. So I'm down a bathroom in my house. When it rains, of course.
I emailed it to him in minutes.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I got it. I saw that somebody.
I was about to respond to Mario's email. Is it possible to ask Rosanna or somebody to send us like a or something? It's kind of snuck up on me, and I guess because it was in the minutes. I just saw any other.
I mean, I just put it in my phone for every.
If that's the rule, then I'll do that.
Oh, by the way, Kate, we're gonna be on YouTube, so we have to talk into the microphone. Yeah, Roseanne, she's actually not in the village anymore. So Mario's, he's actually.
Maybe that's why I didn't know that.
We're actually live now. So. Go ahead. All right, so calling to order Ecology Advisory Board, Village of Biscayne Park on Thursday, October 19th. So roll call, Kate Davis.
Present.
Alexander Madeja. And myself, Alexander Bernhard, present. So there were a couple of items on new business. I just wanted to give a very quick update on the mayor's climate action pledge from the Southeast Florida Climate Change Compact. I sent that over to the mayor and she submitted it to Mario. So they will be bringing that up for a vote at the next commission meeting, which I'll be there. Anytime, by the way, you guys can go to commission meetings. It's always good to have backup and public comment, things like that. So they'll be voting on that. It's basically I believe I had forwarded to you guys last time. It's a pledge by the commission to pursue initiatives that will support resilience in the village. It's not really like a legally binding agreement. It's just joining the compact, which is pretty much all of the surrounding cities are part of that compact as well. And if you go to the website, I'll send a link. I believe I had sent it previously, but I'll send it again. They have just all kinds of different elements of their plan for addressing climate change, and it's pretty well studied and thought out. And so it's a nice kind of guiding post to use in our journey of resilience here in the village. So that's going to be voted on. And then I was speaking to somebody. Let's see if I want to get the name of her her organization correctly here. So let's see. Okay, so her name is Teresa Pinto, and the organization that she's with is here. So it's People's Economic and Environmental Resiliency Group. It's a nonprofit law firm that does work related to resiliency and environmental justice. And one of the things we were talking about, we have the I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Miami Climate Alliance. It's a group that meets usually a couple times a month. They have different panels. One of them is on resiliency, and another one's on energy efficiency. And so I was at the energy efficiency meeting, and we were talking about weatherization and grants that are available for weatherizing. So whether that be insulation of the attic, or installation of storm windows, anything that's related to just building energy efficiency in the home. There's grants available out there for certain low-income households. So that's something that I wanted to see if maybe we could invite her to talk about it, especially now that we're broadcasting, start sort of advertising to the general public. Some of these opportunities are out there. So if you guys, if you all are okay with that, I'd like to invite her to one of our next meetings so she can sort of inform us on what's available, and we can communicate that to the community. Remember to talk into the, is your light on there? I don't hear you. Yeah, I might have to press that button if the light's not on. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Oh, yeah, 1 second here. I think it's.
You have it handy. I'll log on.
Yeah, I think it goes to like a separate login. So I don't know if you all are familiar with any of those programs in terms of.
No, I was just curious if they do like energy audits for homeowners. You must have evaluate them somehow.
Yeah, she would probably know. She would probably know. I believe that a lot of these things are through FPL. So as I understand it, with the weatherization grants, they're actually distributed by FPL. It's kind of not the easiest process to actually get them, because it's a low income grant. So you have to kind of jump through some hoops to get it. But she's a lot more well versed in that than I am. So I just thought it would be nice to invite her. I don't know if we can do it via Zoom. I'll have to talk to Mario if that's possible through the system to invite her to participate via Zoom, and how that would integrate with the system. It'd be good if we could, so she didn't have to come all the way over here. But of course, if she can make it, that would be great as well. So let's see. And then unfinished business. So the village website, I reached out to a company called Brizaga, who actually, they did pretty much all of the resilience and sustainability elements of the city of North Miami's website. And so I reached out to them. I was kind of hoping to try and get it at the end of our budget year, see if we could sort of, if there were any funds that were unused that we could use it for that. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do it that way. But so they did give us a proposal. I don't know in terms of the bidding process. I have to talk to Mario about that. If we have to bring it to the commission and have them vote on it, it's a pretty low amount of money. I mean, it's like the website content was like $3,000, and basically what they would be doing is providing the content, the recommended content for the new website. And then the other part of it is I'll have to send you all a copy of the proposal just so you can see it. is sort of a citizen's guide to sustainability, but specific to Biscayne Park. So actually North Miami has something like that. I don't know if you all have seen it before.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's actually it's a guide that talks about their water supply. It talks about the sustainability initiatives, what you can do in your sort of everyday life. And so it's a great guide. And so what I asked them to do is just propose doing something similar for the village of Biscayne Park, which is actually quite different than North Miami. They actually have sewer over there, and we don't. So septic. I don't know if they're 100% sewer, but you know, we have the septic here, which I don't believe they have. So that's not really covered in that guide. So I did ask for a proposal. I'll forward that proposal through the clerk or through Mario, so you all can have a look at it. But like I said, I don't know. That might have to go through some kind of a bidding process. And my thinking on that part of it was that if we, you know, when we end up getting this Resilient Florida grant, which probably won't come until like February or March of next year, we might be able to sort of retroactively apply funds if we do it before then. So I'm not sure how that works in terms of budgeting, but that was with regards to that. I did want to bring it just so it's official to a vote that if everybody's in favor of inviting Teresa Pinto from the peer group to come either virtually or in person at one of the next meetings. I have to speak to her to see when she could come, just to talk about the weatherization grants. Can I get a motion to approve that?
Sure.
Yes, I
Yes.
second that.
Okay, great. Yeah, let me forward it to you here. So yeah, I think it's probably what happened is that there's like the transition with the clerk, and so let's see. And what's your email, Alexander?
Alex Medea.
You actually got your real name. You must have gotten it early on in Google times. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I just sent that. So the solar energy community outreach, that was actually going to be Daniele, who wasn't able to come. I know he reached out to one of our fellow residents, Geronimo Pizarro, who actually has a solar energy business. He was actually originally going to be on the board, but he had to withdraw just because he didn't want to have like the conflict of interest. So you know, he's still a good, you know, wealth of knowledge. So it'll be nice to have him involved, even if not officially on the board, helping out with that, you know, solar energy, the community outreach, and also talking about possibly installing solar arrays in village-owned properties, which would be pretty amazing. So they're going to kind of study that. And
That would be a start, you know.
what's that?
That would be a start, a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
The village should be.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to be serious about it, we should, you know, lead by example, I think. And it's an investment. It's a significant investment. The payback it's quicker every year. FPL is about to have a pretty significant rate hike over the next few years, so the payback period is going to be exponentially shorter now as well. So it makes sense. So those are the items that I had. There were a couple of other ones that I wanted to bring up, but before that, wanted to give everybody else a chance to chime in. Kate, did you have anything?
Unfortunately, this meeting, I don't really have too much to add. Interested to see that proposal. That would be.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a lot of money for.
Remember to talk into the mic.
It's a lot of money for a small village like us, but in all reality, it's not for the benefit supplied to the residents. So
Yeah, I didn't think it was, you know, an outlandish amount of money. I mean, I think when you look at the deliverable, and if you look at what they did for the you know, North Miami, it's pretty, it's comprehensive, but it's easy to understand. It's easy for anybody to understand. So
We're talking about the website, right?
the website and the citizens handbook. Yes,
Content that goes
correct. Yeah,
with it.
yeah. So
I mean, yeah, if that's a printed guide.
yeah, yeah.
it's
Which,
awesome.
you know, I don't know if we're going to print it out and give it to everybody. It's kind of, you know, antithesis
well,
to what we're
there's-
trying to
yeah.
achieve, but
To be
PDF version.
green about it with a
Yeah.
if they're going to design it and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, there's production value and all that.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, we had discussed in a previous meeting about a website. And that's always the rub, is trying to come up with the content.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost. And if it's something that's already kind of been blessed or widely accepted, then it saves us.
Yeah.
At least it gives us a good running start.
Yeah, and what they do is actually, it's pretty specific. I mean, they do it, they tailor it specifically to the municipality. So Biscayne Park has its own history, it has its own angle on a lot of these things. The properties are different. It's not the same as North Miami. So that's a great starting point. So you don't have to start from zero, but there's still a lot of legwork that needs to be done. And, you know, and there really aren't that many companies that even do anything like that in the Miami area. So, but yeah, I'll have to find out in terms of the bidding, how that might work and how we can fit it into the budget, what category it would be under. I'm not really that familiar with how budgeting works in terms of, you know, the allocation of different pots of money and things like that. But I do know that with the Resilient Florida grant, which we will in most likelihood receive, that's going to be pretty significant. That part of that could definitely and should be dedicated to that.
See if we couldn't come up with
Well, they're working on it.
Are they?
They're working on a new one. Yeah. Yeah, they are working on a new one. I think it's forthcoming, but I haven't seen any mock-ups or anything like that yet.
Has there been any update on the grant?
No, I mean they submitted it. Mario submitted it, and now we just basically wait. I think that they award it in February. I guess if they have any kind of follow-up, you know, questions or anything like that, they'll follow up with the village manager. But from what I understood, he submitted it, and now we just have to sort of wait until that's all reviewed by the state.
I know that I wasn't able to go to the last commission meeting, so you weren't. Was anybody able to go? Do you know, to discuss, you know, what we had in our last meeting with
Well,
the commission to request that the manager, you know, bring up, you know, appropriate topics to the board?
well, so I didn't attend I wasn't able to attend the meeting. I chimed in a little bit later and I was just listening. I did hear they had a pretty extensive conversation about swales, and they kind of ended up nixing one of our recommendations for really, I didn't really understand what the situation was. Why, I mean, apparently the true grid, that GeoGrid that we had recommended for a approved parking surface. So basically all it is just like a plastic grid that holds gravel, keeps it from going everywhere, and it provides structure, and it provides structure for drainage as well. Apparently one of the other boards determined that was something that was only used in commercial applications, which is of course not by any stretch of the imagination true. So they kind of just like unceremoniously seemed to nix it, even though they had already voted in favor of it. So I wrote a follow-up letter to the commissioners, you know, showing an example of the fact that type of material and structural element is not just for commercial. I mean, it's not only used in residential, but it's superior to just putting a bunch of gravel, because it actually provides structure to prevent compaction, so that you actually have, you know, appropriate drainage. I'm not really sure why they just from one moment to the next decided to take that out. So I think that was this first reading for swales. So there might be a second one, and at the next meeting, which I'll be there. So I was also, you know, I was a little bit disappointed. I expressed it to the commissioners as well, that during public comment, there was an individual, a citizen, who was given about 25 minutes to give public comment. And the last time I was giving the board update, I was cut off after a couple of minutes. So I was very upset about that. I actually, expressed that to the commissioners. It was somebody who used to be a commissioner, but is no longer a commissioner. So I didn't really understand why somebody would be giving a pedestal like that when other people are only cut off after 2 minutes. So I don't think it'll happen again. After, I brought it to their attention, I think they realized it was a mistake. It should not have happened. And
Maybe they forgot he was no longer a commissioner.
yeah. I mean, he had interesting things to say, but at the end of the day, everybody has to be treated equally. There has to be, a sense of equality, and you can't just give one citizen the opportunity that other citizens don't have. It just doesn't. It's not how it should work. So, I was quite upset about that, and I think that they realized that it shouldn't have happened. So, but that's why I was mentioning that it is important that if any of us can be at these commission meetings, it's very important, because I think that the more that we are in front of the commissioners, the more seriously they'll take our recommendations. And we're also allowed to comment individually, even if we don't necessarily agree, or if we want to add something to something that we vote on here. As a citizen, we can just, as a resident, we can just talk about it, not related to the board. But as much as we can be there and engage, because it's just, resilience and sustainability, it's not on the radar as much as it should be. And they voted to create this board. So we really need to, try to, as much as possible, engage with them and with the manager, just to make sure that we're being heard. Yeah. So Kate, I was actually going to ask you something, because I remember, and maybe this is something that I was trying to find maps, like I don't know if it's like a GIS map, in terms of the water table height in certain areas of the city. So I found a Miami-Dade one that just kind of has like general, I guess it's taken from wells, like measurements are taken from wells. I don't know if they're drainage wells, or I'm not sure what it is, but just to have an idea of where in the different parts of the park, the water table is, because I know it can vary quite significantly from one area to the other.
Scale?
No, it's different. It's different. Yeah.
I've never seen a water table map.
There is one. There is one from USGS, but
So there's a couple resources that you can use, but South Florida Water Management District has groundwater monitoring wells.
I don't know. I can't really hear you on the microphone.
South Florida Water, I don't think it's working.
Is it on? Oh, you might have to turn it off and on.
Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Can you hear that? Seems like it's working. Maybe. There we go. South Florida Water Management District has monitoring wells, but they're not, they're spaced out, but to give like a geographic representation of what groundwater is doing. So there is a website. It's not South Florida Water Management District. It's USGS.
Right.
Has available.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw.
Yeah, it's USGS has groundwater monitoring wells that that you can log on real time to see what groundwater levels are. But it's not going to be specific to the village. It's just going to be geographical.
Yeah. And
you can also get probably real-time data from South Florida Water Management District, because we're right by the canal. So
yeah.
That may be a little bit off, but you can see what the canal is doing, which kind of reflects off of where we are today, in relation to that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, the reason I was asking, because I was looking at a seminar that was done with the Miami-Dade. I forget which department. I think it's Durham that's in charge of the septic. And so the person that's in charge of all of that, he's a professional engineer. I think his name is Carlos Hernandez. He was talking about something interesting regarding septic, which is that a lot of time, and I didn't know this either, a lot of times with septic, it's not just that the water table comes up to the level of the septic and then basically the septic, it doesn't work anymore. Even when the water table doesn't come up to the septic, if it still rises underneath the drain field, the water the water that's coming from the septic, it doesn't have enough time to filter through because it gets to the water table very early. So it's just a little detail about septic that I wasn't really aware of. So I was just curious to see if, I'm sure in certain, because I know I dug in my house about 4 feet down to put like a little like a rain catching cylinder type thing. And I didn't hit water. And I heard some people say that the water table is like right, just basically underneath right there under the ground. And
When we put our septic system in, I can tell you they had to go fairly deep.
yeah,
It was within 4 to 6 that they hit water. That septic tank that they sunk on my front lawn was floating
oh, really?
water. They stood on it while they buried it to make sure and filled it full of water at the same time.
Yeah.
My plumbing to weigh it down. So it's not noticeable unless you're standing over it, but
Right.
it's a bit of a hump.
Yeah.
So it's and that's the risk I've heard in a rush in storm times to think that people have to pump out and drain their
Yeah.
systems, because the physics will be that if there's enough water in the ground and there's not enough weight in that container, it will crush
Oh, really?
the ground up. It just doesn't have anywhere to go. So it's empty.
Oh.
So like a beer.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I learned more about it, I guess, in doing the whole process.
Yeah.
We've been through this, how I have available sewer on my street on 121st.
Oh, that's right. You do. Yeah.
But the challenges between both municipalities prohibited me connecting.
Really?
It's been
Interesting.
a long saga.
Yeah, because from what I understood, it's kind of like you have to, if you're within a certain distance to a
That was what
line.
that is what the city of North Miami told me.
Yeah.
When they came out to survey.
Yeah.
They have to do for water.
Right.
Everybody has to get marked, utilities, everything.
Right.
They said that the county would never allow this to happen. I had conversations with Durham over this. The root of the matter is no one could really provide me a clear roadmap as a homeowner to doing this. And
Right.
Estimates everywhere from a few $1,000s to over $20,000.
To connect.
Just to connect.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the plumbing work that has to come from my
Right.
house, which is now in the front yard and less of an issue.
Right.
But that general connection of, well, who is going to engineer this? There isn't a connection point to the sewer. So some architect has to come up with that scenario.
Right.
And then who approves that? Is it the county? Is it the city of North Miami because it's theirs? Is it the end result, which is the county because that's where everything is flowing to?
Yeah.
Where is the specific location of that juncture?
Yeah.
Who would tell me where that was going to go? And they would say, that's up to the engineer. And the engineer would say, I can't, that's not my pipe. I can't tell you.
Right.
They're going to break it. I can just recommend something. But somebody has to tell me it's going to be this far from the street. But these are the kind of conversations I was having as a homeowner who is not an engineer.
Yeah. Yeah.
To try to get to the bottom of it. And part of way, maybe in a long tail way, brought me here.
Right.
Because of the issues I had.
Yeah.
In the whole process of, it should be my choice.
Yeah.
In a way. And I was flat out told by the village here, we can't let that happen. And I think part of it had to do with maybe a concern that if a couple of people do it, everybody's going to want to rush in, and then they have to find this funding source, which may or may not happen eventually, from the state or federal level, that grants will be pulled off of septic.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to happen. I mean, it's
going to happen,
happening. It's just
yeah.
a matter of time. And
right.
Yeah,
And
it
so
is
it
happening.
needs to be
but
prepared.
I guess I'm going to be one of those people who got squeezed who made that capital investment.
Yeah.
Only to maybe, on a septic system that in perfect conditions should last 20 to 30 years, I may only get 5-10 years out of it, either because the conditions don't allow it anymore, or because we're forced into a connection scenario to sewer. Maybe I'm fortunate because the sewer is already there, like the rest of the village. We have to make all that happen.
Would you be interested in maybe, I know everybody has their kind of like specific interest area. Would you be interested in looking further into kind of just seeing where the county is on that? I mean, I can give you the contact information for the person that's pretty much in charge for the whole county. He's responsive. I mean, I've emailed with him a couple of times.
I can reach out to him, and it may have been somebody I had already spoken to, because I did,
Yeah,
like I said, a lot of legwork on this. And this was, frankly, it was even before we had even partially even taken ownership of the house. Like, we
Yeah.
were just trying to, we knew this needed to happen. And it was part of the inspection. It was, you know, the tank was failing. The tank was also underneath part of the house,
right.
at that
Okay.
point. It just couldn't be that way. So
Yeah, I'll send you his information. Let me just,
I don't want to bring up my own discourse here, but if we're talking about septic and sewer, or septic and water and sewer, that's my personal case study.
yeah, I mean,
whole
you know,
thing.
I'm
And
sure Kate has, you know, a lot of insight into how that, you know, affects the aquifer. And I mean,
right, and I mean, I can tell you, you know, again, the water table varies. I can tell you that in certain spots of my own front yard, if there's really, really heavy rain, it comes up,
yeah,
you know. In other spots, it doesn't. So is that just a matter of not enough topsoil, you know, where we really piled it on, or is there something else under the ground at play?
Yeah, I
that's-
think I know where your house is because I walk my dogs there and you're just in that low bowl spot.
Well, we're not far from that, right? Where everything floods and it caved in at that one point, and now they filled it in, and that's another.
That's just another, that was a real good Band-Aid fix right there.
Right, and according to
Just cover it up.
yeah,
Mario and the commissioners, that is that's going to be fixed soon. I
yeah.
don't know what soon is.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while for the other one, but it seems like Mario's kind of on top of that. I mean, he got the other one taken care of pretty quickly when he first started here. So that's got to be one of the high priority ones, because that's, I mean, it floods every time. I mean, that house that's there, that's got to be a repetitive lost property. I mean, that's just
Well, I
every
can
single
I
time.
can speak for my neighbor 2 doors down. It is, and he's talked about moving and selling because he's
Well, usually FEMA they'll come in and they'll give you money to buy the property and then basically just like make it into,
right. I think he's been doing all that.
yeah,
You know, you know, I think it happened twice to him in a year, and he had damage to his home, but he lost vehicles because of it.
yeah,
You know, so we were all, even I think it was the weekend before last, they'd issued a storm warning. We didn't get hit with it much in Miami-Dade. It was the weekend before last. Broward got a lot of it, but I got the alert from the Herald, and it said, you know, expect localized flooding. But it seemed more than your average thunderstorm. It looked like it
Yeah.
could have been one of those real rain events and bombs. And I sat down and wrote Mario Diaz right away and my neighbors and said, you know,
yeah,
just because we haven't had a real wet summer, I guess, compared to other years, and we haven't, you know,
Yeah.
gone through a major storm.
Well, the thing, I mean, that to me would be the exact location where if that homeowner does sell the house and FEMA, you know, kind of takes it over, that's the exact place where you would want to do like a stormwater, like a bioswale or something like that, that alleviates some of the issues from the surrounding properties. They actually did that in North Miami.
Right.
On 143rd, what they did is that they had this house that was constantly getting flooded. So FEMA bought the owner out, and they actually created this bioswale. It's like an active flood mitigation in the one property that alleviates the flooding issues from the houses around it. So it's actually a pretty cool approach. It's like a micro blue-green infrastructure project, and that's something that we should.
Right.
look
It's not
into here.
necessarily about plumbing and pipes. It's more about,
No, because that's the thing. If you put in that French drain in there, that's not really a good solution, because it's when the water table, it's, you know, because that fluctuates, and then over time it, you know, requires maintenance. It's you know, having something that's like a living, breathing, you know, and it also functions as a park. That's the cool part about that other project I was telling you about. It functions as a
I don't
park.
know where I've seen that. Was it Miami Beach or somewhere recently? I've seen
They're doing it in Miami Beach as
They're
well.
doing it in Miami Beach too. right?
Yeah, they're actually planning on, from what I understood, they're planning on converting the Miami Beach golf course into a
Part of it, yeah,
blue-green
you're right,
infrastructure
that's-
project.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the company that's doing that design is right here on 123rd. I very, you know, just kind of randomly connected with them, Savino and Miller. They do really cool work, and they're the ones working on that over there in Miami
It
Beach.
would be a perfect location for that.
Yeah.
It really would.
Yeah, not that you're biased or anything, but
No, I mean, I just, you know, when I say we were lucky, it was literally like, you're seeing the water like in your neighbors who can't use their bathrooms. And
Yeah.
and the water's like at your property edge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, talk about kind of like survivor's guilt in a way. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, that's, you know, so I speak for, but you know, we had even, you know, in our outreach as homeowners, we even gotten through to the county mayor's office at one point. And she came back, well, not her personally. She was meeting with, I think, the Biscayne Park mayor that same day. I remember it because she was touring the COVID vaccination site that they had set up at MDC North Campus.
Right.
And so she was in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioned that. Yeah, yeah.
So she sent her people over and met with my wife and looked at the area.
Yeah.
The county is, and specifically looked at that point as, or Biscayne Park maybe in general, as a, maybe we talked about this. It's a, because it's a smaller community and a smaller municipality, they can try something different there that they don't have to use, you know, like if it came to building a sewer system or something like that.
Right.
These other mitigation efforts you've talked about, they can try stuff here and use us a little bit that way because it's a smaller area, you know,
Yeah.
to get around it and do these things.
Well, I'll give you his contact information. He's from Miami-Dade. I think he's from Durham. I'd be curious to, you know, just kind of find out what the status is and what the strategy is. And so let's see. Yeah, so the solar initiatives, weatherization, the ordinances, public comments. Let's see. Oh, so there's another thing that I was thinking of. Wanted to get your opinions on it. About, or when I first moved here, it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. They had like a contractors expo in the rec center, but it was like green building. So it was they had roofs, they had like roof contractors, and they had a couple of solar panel contractors. So now that we're sort of, hopefully by 2022, going to be out of, you know, enough COVID restrictions that we might be able to do something in the rec center, I thought it would be interesting to think about doing like a green building expo, inviting, you know, contractors, local contractors that do either solar installations or anything that's related to home energy efficiency, you know, insulation for the attic, things like that. Invite people to the rec center and just have like an event there on maybe like a Saturday during the day, and just invite residents to come sort of learn and talk to different contractors. I mean, that's how I ended up getting connected with the contractor that I use for my storm windows, and they did a really good job. So it was a nice educational opportunity, and an opportunity for people to actually, you know, just meet with contractors. And
I think that's a great idea, especially like you said, we're getting closer and closer to having more face to face.
yeah,
I don't know how we build that list. I'm sure there's resources at the county or otherwise of contractors. I know, again, speaking from experience, FPNL's got a pretty big list of contractors that they have pre-approved to do attic installations.
yeah, they do. That's right.
You know, because I did that during the pandemic, started calling a few of those places up and getting.
Yeah. Did you do it?
Well, I have insulation in my attic, but one contractor in particular, and then he ghosted me. You know, brought up other issues that before I just go and spray and pray stuff up there,
Right.
I need to do some other work with my electric and duct work up there.
Oh.
It's kind of like solve a few issues there so that you don't have, you know, air conditioning ductwork that sits against, you know, insulation that makes mold.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff, those sort of things. So before I did that, I wanted to correct other issues. It's something to be said, and something to consider. Like he said, like you just throwing a bunch of insulation up there is not necessarily the first thing you want.
Yeah. Kate, have you done that in your house?
But of course, I have like fiberglass insulation up there.
It makes a big difference.
I have, yeah. I mean,
Really
it's just,
big
it's that old pink stuff, which, you know, I'd rather not use.
No, I didn't use that. So they have new stuff. You can use a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean,
Have,
they
like
used to
recycled jeans and stuff like that.
used
Which
to use old phone books. And you know, that was.
yeah, you can. The problem with those, I guess, they have some kind of like repellent against roaches, but the bugs like still eventually kind of like it. So I just did the regular, like whatever, the white blown insulation is, and it made a massive difference. I mean, it's got to be about, because I was looking at it year over year, comparing it to last year, and it was like 20% improvement in the summer months. It was like significant. It's and FPL gives you a $200 credit. It's not cheap. I mean, I think it was still, even after the $200 credit,
It was gonna be like $500 or $600.
it was like $500, but it pays for itself. I mean, it pays for itself pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna do it, but like I said, when I went up there with the guy, when he showed me around, I looked at some of the, again, previous owners contracting work, to have
Yeah.
electric wire that was not mounted to anything, just thrown across. I get up and do some other work.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's one
Make
of
it
the
safe,
elements
but-
of the weatherization that I wanted to talk, to have Teresa Pinto
I don't
come
do
in.
this old house either here. I feel like we're going down like a Bob Vila trend here, but sorry.
Yeah. So that's all right. We'll say that. I mean, the Green Building Expo, that could be. I mean, I know that we have a couple of people in the park that do some of these kind of things, so that obviously they would be first on the list, and then having contractors maybe that people have worked with in the park, and that have had good experiences with, maybe inviting them to participate in something like that.
Right. I just don't, what the vetting process is for this.
Yeah, I'll have to find out how they did it before, because I don't know what, it can't be like it's not like the park
This
is
is not a request for proposal.
endorsing
Right.
anybody specifically. I think they're just like inviting people to come, and I don't know how they did it last time. I'll have to find. I don't even know who ran it. I'll have to find out. Who knows that, but I thought it could be a good way to engage.
Did the park before, again, I've only been here a couple of years, at least in Biscayne Park, but not Miami. I mean, is there health expos or anything else like that they've done that, those same kind of procedures would, in terms of finding exhibitors and participants in it, it would follow that same playbook?
I don't know. I don't know.
They've invited people before to some of these events, but I don't
Right.
know how they were chosen or how they were invited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be seen as giving any favoritism. Although I think it would be good that if you have residents that have had good experiences with contractors, and that could be a place to start. But I'll look into see how that could be done. And in terms of, so if you want to look into, Alex, if you want to look into the septic to sewer situation, that'd be interesting to be able to have that information. And then Kate, is there anything that you think would be worth pursuing in a more in-depth fashion regarding some of the things that we've been talking about?
Definitely interested in what the village is currently done or thought about for transitioning into sewer.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything, so definitely something to investigate.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you probably have some good contacts that can give that kind of information as well.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be a big one. That's gonna be coming up pretty soon. So okay.
All right, but you'll be able to get can you start me with that county contact you might have? Did you find him?
Yeah, Carlos. Yeah, I'll get his
In a rush,
information.
but,
Yeah. Actually, we do that now, just since we're here.
I probably have in notes from almost 3 years ago, the contacts I had spoken to through that whole process. I mean, at the end of the day, we had already kind of put a deposit down toward the septic system, so we were almost in that direction. And, I'm tired of fighting it, but I think my goal would be to try to come up with some sort of playbook or step-by-step process, and possibly a fee schedule or something like that. I mean, specifically, that would be for the folks along 121st, I guess, in the park, in the village, so. Unless, 6th Ave or something like that has to.
I don't know, actually. what was his email again? Alex Madeja at Gmail. Oh, and actually, we did a canal cleanup this past weekend. I don't know if you guys saw next door. We went out to the C, I think it's the C8 canal here, the one that borders the edge of the village.
Right.
And one of the residents, Carolina Pagani, actually organized it. It was a good showing, actually. A lot of people came out. She had everything really well organized.
I told you earlier about all my happenings at home, and I was planning on doing, I was gonna bring my paddleboard down.
Yeah.
A couple of them, and I have not been paddling in the canals yet, and I've been meaning to get.
I would not go in there with a paddleboard. I mean, unless you're really good at it and you have zero chance of falling in that water, you do not want to be inside. I mean, there are like floating carcasses of like iguanas in there. Like, I was in there with my kayak, and it was like the first time I ever used it. It was a foldable kayak, so it was like, it was actually really cool. It was like an origami kayak,
Yeah, I've seen those. They're pretty
and it stayed bone dry. But yeah, if you're really good at paddleboarding and you're good at balancing and you're able to like multitask, pulling trash out of the water
I
with
used
a
to do
bucket.
it. I used to do it when I lived in Miami Beach, and
Oh, so you're good then.
waterways, on the other side of it's not much cleaner
Yeah,
on that side than those canals. I mean, really, especially
yeah.
in the times of red tide. Yeah, I know it's not for swimming. That's for sure.
No, not even for swimming, but I didn't even want to touch that. It was like scary. But on the good news, we got a lot of trash out of there. We got a lot of trash.
Yeah, and if you probably went back in a month, it'd be. You wonder.
Well, apparently I think the county comes out and they clean it out like once. I don't know, Kate. Do you know anything about that? That maybe they clean it like once a month or once every few months, something like that.
I think that they collect all the debris at the structures.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it must be. Yeah.
They have
They
catch
come
basins
through
or
and,
something.
and they do vegetation maintenance. I don't know what the schedule is, but
Yeah.
pretty much what they're coming out and doing is removing invasive like hydrilla and stuff like that. So
Oh, really?
that
Yeah.
doesn't disturb the capacity.
Yeah.
I don't think they're so much worried about the trash because it'll just end up in the bay eventually, but that's unfortunate. But it always collects right there by the golf course.
Right. Yeah.
I think that they're supposed to clean it out, but
Yeah.
I don't know what the requirements are. I don't think there really are any.
Yeah, they're probably stretched thin, unfortunately. But so that was a nice thing. They're gonna do it again in January. So definitely advertise that through any.
Yeah, there's a listserv I get like I think on Mondays or Tuesdays. It's volunteer cleanups.
Yeah.
They list all the cleanups that are going to happen around South Florida.
Yeah.
Like that, whether they're water or.
I should tell her to recommend that she.
But that's how I found out about that one.
It was on that group. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they get a lot of info.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. It was. I was impressed. There were a lot of people. It was very well organized. She got the grabbers for the trash and buckets and everything. She did a really good job.
Yeah, there's a lot you can accomplish with a grabber and a Home Depot bucket on your little boat. And you can.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where you get like a drop of water on you. You're like, I want to go home and take a shower right away. Yeah. It's very unfortunate. I was wondering though. I don't know. Maybe Kate knows. Is that like an actual tributary that existed there, or is that a man-made canal?
It's a canal.
Yeah, that one's a canal. Like Arch Creek, Little River, Miami River were natural at one time. Olito River, but
yeah,
this one I don't believe it was natural.
Okay, because I noticed it had a little bit of a current like going towards the bay. I don't know if I was imagining it, but it seemed like there was like a little.
No, there's definitely.
That's how they're designed. I mean, those canals were put in place to keep water out of the Everglades. So.
They're keeping us dry, so all of the water is flowing there and being pushed out.
Yeah. I've been reading this book about the history of the Everglades called The Swamp.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's a good
Over
book.
history, what they've done to the ecosystem just to let us live here.
I don't know if I'd want to.
It's well, it's anyway, we're done with it. I'm happy to lend it to you.
Yeah.
Give it to you, pass it on.
Okay, so Is there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up or discuss? Or
No, you hit good points. I mean, between the sewer, the solar panels, the website,
okay,
um, cleanups, I mean, we're hitting on a lot of, and obviously the thing with the driveways and the gravel and the swales, I mean, it seems like that's an ongoing conversation. I know you.
yeah,
Yeah, was there any update on that? I haven't really seen too much and updates coming through email or anything like that lately. And
well, they read an ordinance, which I think was the draft ordinance, and that was when they decided to take out that one recommendation that we had made, which I think that was the first reading. So I think there'll be a second reading at that meeting, which I'm going to be there anyway because the mayor is going to be bringing to a vote that the mayor's climate action pledge, and so when they ask for updates, I can talk about what we talked about at this meeting, and then if either of you all can be there just as residents, that would be good just to comment on anything that has to do with the right of ways and the driveways.
yeah, what is the pledge about that you're talking about?
So the climate action pledge it's something that was created by the South Florida Climate Change Compact. It's a group that came up with the plan that addresses many different elements of the impacts of climate change, all the way from energy efficiency, storm readiness. I'll send a link to the website. I guess I guess I can't really send them directly, so I'll probably have to send them through Mario until whoever's going to be a clerk can transmit those things. But it's basically it's an acknowledgement and a non-binding indication that the village is going to take into account the effects of climate change and in future plans. Which, by the way, Mario did mention that they are working on the updated. They're going to be working on the updated comprehensive plan, which is that actually is a legally binding document. And so if we are going to be, if the mayor is going to be voting on a pledge like that, it really does have to. It can't be just in words. So I'm hoping that once that's kind of in writing, it shows that we can get some sort of goodwill from the surrounding communities that we've signed this pledge to. We're a little bit late to the party, but we're going to participate. And then hopefully when we're doing things like whether it's the comprehensive planning or projects around the village, that, we can at least be involved on some level to give the input on anything that relates to ecology or, resilience, sustainability. All right, so I think that's pretty much it, unless anybody else has anything else.
No.
Oh, I think we're good.
All right.
Did we approve the meetings from last time?
Oh yes, we needed to. Did everybody see the minutes from the last meeting? We might have to just put that in unfinished business for the next meeting if everybody didn't see the minutes yet.
Oh, I glanced at them earlier when I got Mario's email. But, that's not good enough, then we can move it to the next one.
Yeah, I saw them. They seemed fine, but if we need to
Yeah, no, we can.
postpone that, that's fine.
Yeah, let me just. That is, oh, here it is. Just take a quick look. Okay. Yeah, it looks good to me. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Second that.
Motion approved.
Approve. Okay. All right. So let's approve the minutes, and can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I second.
Motion to adjourn. All right. So meeting adjourned. Let me text Mario here, let him know.